Hello, and welcome in to another episode of Farm to Fame. My name is Kelsey Wingert. That is Peter Moylan, and that is our captain, Clark Kent, Matty Mats. Anybody want to try to guess whose autograph this is?
I was just going to ask who it was. That looks like Chris Bryant.
Are you serious, dude? I guess I can see the K, the B, and the T, and the Y. That was really impressive,
I just took a
though.
stab.
I was not expecting you to be able to get that quickly.
Did you see my Pop Chips episode of my taste testing? Did you happen to see that already?
I didn't see that one. Oh, but Pop Chips are so good, dude.
I don't know that they were popcorners, or I don't.
Yeah, popcorners are so good.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I was so confident in that too. So I just feel like if you ooze confidence, 40% of the time you will get it. Half the time.
Yeah. Hey, that's hitting 400 in baseball.
That's right.
I haven't talked to either of you guys on
We
Zoom
haven't seen each other
in so long. I know.
In a month.
And I feel like I need to give a disclaimer off the top of the show that Casey and I are renovating our bathroom right now. So our contractor is currently working, so you might hear some very loud noises. That's the only life update that I have. Peter, how is Australia?
Australia's going good. Family's still here. It's been amazing. Christmas was incredible. It's the first time the family had been together in almost 8 years.
Are you talking Mandy and Leilani are up there, or what are you saying?
Mandy and Leilani are still here in Australia. Okay. Yeah. But Christmas was everybody, the whole one side of the family.
Wow.
There was 16 of us, I think, on Christmas Day. So that was incredible. Plus, Western Australia had their borders closed for 3 years. So even though I was in the country the last 2 years, I wasn't able to see either one of my parents.
Yeah.
So that was huge. I got to see everybody. It's been awesome. And I get to go back next week for a couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Are you still enjoying managing?
I'm loving managing. I'm learning so much. It's not just, there's so much to managing that you just don't realize.
Yeah.
It's just people. You're just managing people. There's 25, 24 different personalities you got to deal with every single week. And I love it, but it's also hard. It's certainly not a walk in the park.
Obviously you knew the game of baseball really well, right? I mean, 3.10 career ERA, but how much more have you learned about the game and strategy? How much has managing just kind of opened your eyes to things?
Honestly, the baseball side of it hasn't changed. You get in certain situations, it's almost like blackjack. It's like you get in a situation and you know what you're really supposed to do. You can kind of try and outsmart people, but in the long run, you pretty much play by the book. It's the personality part of it. It's the having to tell a guy that he hasn't made the roster. It's that part of it that I've never had to do that before. I've always been everyone's friend. Man, sorry, the manager told you that. I've got your back.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm the guy having to tell someone that they haven't made the roster and why and explain it. And it's different. I'm the guy making the decisions on who comes in, from the bullpen. It's been awesome. It's been really cool. The team has, in a word, probably underperformed, if I'm being honest. We've been hit with some injuries and COVID for a little while, and then guys just. And here's the thing: we played this last weekend. We played 4 games in the span of 20-something hours.
Probably even less than that, the way that you explained it to me.
Yeah, we had a 3 o'clock on a Saturday, a 7 o'clock on a Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Sunday, and a 2 o'clock Sunday. So yeah, you're right. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
So if you're a hitter and you're not feeling it for a couple of days, it's not like you get to play every day. You've got to try and concentrate it into these 2 days. And if you're having a bad run, then that's just what you got to go with. So as I said to you, I've learned so much that we're going to carry into next year. It looks like we're going to miss the playoffs unless we can win out. We're going to miss the playoffs. So, which is the first time in a while, which is frustrating, but I'm just pumped with how much I've learned, and I can come back and take control of a few more things next year.
Yeah. When does that regular season end?
22nd of January.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then the playoffs will run until the 5th of February.
And how long will you stay in Australia?
I leave on the 7th of February.
Okay.
So for anybody on who's tracking my flight, you can come and meet me at the airport and give me a welcome home parade.
Maddie, how's everything going at John Boy? There's like a ton of stuff going on over there.
Everything is good. Lot of 2023 planning currently in the works. But overall, the ship is moving, or I should say the speedboat is moving.
It's
And
flying.
yeah, everything is looking good.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Hey, Peter,
Yes.
where's Carlos Correa going to end up?
Atlanta Braves.
Hey, Maddie, where's Carlos Correa going to end up?
The Japanese league.
Wow.
No, that's a joke.
All right.
That's the NPB.
Yeah.
I don't honestly. Is the Mets thing done? Can we say that it's done now?
I don't think it's
done either.
I don't think it's done yet. I still think that's likely where he ends up, but when I say likely, I think it's like a 60% chance. So
Yeah.
like a little more than half. But
Mhm.
like what is I don't know, man.
hold up?
What is his contract going to look like that he gets? Like still the high AAV, but like for 5 or 6 years. And I don't know, man. It's a saga to follow along with. It's freaking wild. I don't know if saga.
Just so I'm clear, he failed the first physical because of his back, and he failed the second physical because of his ankle.
I don't think it was his back why he failed the first physical.
Oh.
But I think his back had been bothering him last year. So a lot of people thought that it was his back.
Okay.
But then there were a lot of people making jokes that he hurt his back from carrying the team. So I don't know if those back problems were a joke or not. But I'm not an AL gal. But yeah, that's going to be wild to follow along with. Also, Pete,
Yes.
on a more somber note,
Yes.
Liam Hendriks.
Yeah, that was obviously blindsided everybody yesterday. But if one thing we know about Liam is he's a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, you read it in his posts. He's going to be back stronger than ever. But yeah, what a punch in the face that was.
Yeah. Have you been able to talk to him yet?
I texted with him yesterday, just a quick. I know he's going to be getting crushed with messages, so I just threw a text message to him, and he responded. And in typical Liam fashion, hope you guys are doing great.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about us, big fella. It's about you right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but shout out to him and his wife, and their cats. He'll be back. And Rick Hahn said that there's going to be no update on his playing status until at least the start of the season. So everybody just calm down and have him get back healthy, and he'll be back better than ever.
Yeah. We're thinking of him, man. That was
absolutely
getting those notifications yesterday. You just hate getting those.
Yeah.
So,
and on a selfish level, like I'm sitting there thinking to myself for the last couple of weeks, I wonder why Liam hasn't announced he's going to pitch for the Australian team, the WBC. What's he doing? And like, you never really know what someone's dealing with in the back end of their lives. So it's got to be conscious of that a little bit too.
Yeah. So we'll be thinking of him. So sad. Okay. Do you guys want to dive into the episode now that we've kind of like lollygagged? First of all, this is going to be a 3-person conversation. We have some news. We are changing the format of Farm to Fame for this upcoming year, for 2023. So we want to explain to you guys what that format is going to look like. Farm to Fame still exists. We're still going to have episodes. We're just going to tweak the format a little bit. So we're pivoting to more like concentrated episodes around
punchy episodes. I just got the boxing thing on, so I thought I'd throw punch in there.
Punchy episodes around our most popular times of the year. So it's essentially going to involve 2 seasons per year. We're going to have spring training season in March, and then we're going to have the MLB draft season in June and July. When we're doing that spring training season in March, we're going to highlight the top prospects from each position. So hopefully try to give you guys an understanding of who to be paying attention to, who we could see coming up this year, names that you need to know, and hopefully get you familiar with all of the top prospects around baseball. Because that's what like we want to do on our show, that we hopefully have made clear over the last 2 years. It's like, we want you guys to know who these guys are coming up and who you're going to be cheering for and who you're going to be seeing. So we're going to really concentrate on that. And then when we do the MLB draft season, we're going to preview and recap the MLB draft. We might be talking to some of the draft prospects and just really getting you guys. Yeah, Pete, teaser. We might be, we'll just be getting you guys prepared for names to be paying attention to. We'll probably recap some of the college seasons a little bit. So each season is going to have up to 10 episodes. And then we're also going to have like bonus one-off episodes throughout the rest of the year. If we have different guests who want to come on, like when we had our Reggie Crawford episode, like if guys like that reach out and want to come on, or if there's somebody that we make a connection with and we want them to come on, like we still want to be able to bring you guys those conversations and those personalities where you can get to know those guys on a deeper level. And if you guys, I'm assuming that you follow John Boy Media on Farm to Fame. If you saw like those rapid fire interviews that I did last year with some of we got some really cool guys on there. We're going to be doing that with prospects as well. So make sure you guys are looking out for that on our social media. Pete, Maddie, anybody want to toss anything in there?
No, you nailed it.
Yeah, that was really well said. Yeah.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. I'm excited for the new format. Not that I haven't enjoyed seeing you guys every single week for the last 2 years.
Sad, yeah.
But, you know, there comes a time when changes need to be made.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit easier for us. Obviously, Peter and I, what, Pete?
For Maddie too.
Yeah.
But sorry, he's right above me.
Yes.
That's what I'm pointing at.
We are always trying to finesse. Obviously, Peter and I are on 2 different broadcast teams, and I work out on the West Coast, and Peter and Maddie are on the East Coast. So always just trying to like get that every single week around our game schedules and our travels is always interesting. And Maddie has always been up for the challenge, but we're still going to be here. We're still going to have our social channels, and you ain't getting rid of your favorite Aussie.
No,
you're not getting rid of them.
Can't be done.
Okay, so
you're gonna have a weekly LSU update, or you're just gonna keep it to the bi-weekly?
The top prospect in the draft, which we're about to talk about, is an LSU guy.
Is he?
Yeah. The number 4 guy in the draft is an LSU guy, projected draft prospect. They're going to be good this year, Pete.
Are they?
Boy, would I freaking love to get you down to Alec Box in Baton Rouge to experience some real college baseball.
Can I just give you so when I first came over here back in the 1996 area of, it was 96, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but LSU was the team that everybody would look to in college baseball. Tin bats, and it was just a fun time to watch the College World Series. It was so I'm very fond and familiar of LSU baseball, and I would love to get down there. And my wife's from New Orleans, so I mean,
I always forget that
there's like a ties there.
Yeah, that's like something I always say. I just want to get down there so bad to go to another baseball game. Like when I was a student, I didn't miss a single football game, went to a ton of baseball games, and I just haven't been back. And like, it's so much, it's just a different world. Anyway,
what happens if you
that conversation.
What happens if you go back? Do they like, oh my God, Kelsey Wingert's here, and do they like open up the gates and you run on the field holding the flag or something? Or?
I have not pulled, I think I have like 2 tickets, right? Where I can like message someone and be like, hey, I want to come down and like get set up. And I haven't used them yet.
Okay.
But I'm trying to pick and choose. I went to a Bama game a couple years ago and that was cool, but like football, but
I hope Casey doesn't get offended when I take his ticket.
I don't think you'd have a hard time us getting you tickets.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to go quickly over the top prospects that are coming up in the 2023 draft. College baseball season is about to start. Normally opening weekend for college baseball is Valentine's Day weekend, February 14th weekend. I don't know if that's what it is this year. I'm assuming that's what it is this year.
Is it
But
cold?
yeah,
Like, do they play in snow and stuff?
yeah,
That's
I mean,
really early to not be in Florida
yeah.
or Arizona.
yeah. But yeah,
Alright.
their season usually starts second week of February. So these are some guys that you're going to be hearing about a lot this college baseball season, and ultimately be hearing about them in the MLB draft coming up in July. So I'll start.
Okay.
Okay. So the top draft prospect of 2023 is Dylan Cruz, Louisiana State University outfielder. He's 20 years old. Okay. In 2022, played in 62 games. Remember, SEC West, one of the best college baseball conferences in all the land. He hit 349 with 11 doubles, 4 triples, 22 home runs, 72 RBI, 5 stolen bases, 42 walks to 56 strikeouts, and 1153 OPS, and he was named co-SEC Player of the Year. In 2021, he led the SEC with 163 total bases. He set LSU freshman records for 18 home runs. This is a guy who is a complete bat, a complete player, quick bat speed with plus power. He handles his zone well, chases some changeups. Good outfielder. I mean, he can be a good center fielder. If not, they can move him to right. I'm very curious. So if he played in 62 games, 62 over 162.
Have there been any comps thrown out there, Maddie,
22.
for
I
him?
haven't seen anything specific.
Is this how
but
you
let
do
me-
that math equation?
Oh my goodness, don't ask me. My daughter's doing fractions right now,
No,
and we
put
don't
the
do
22
fractions.
at the top.
Put the 22 at the top, he said.
Okay.
Okay, so I do 162 times 22 divided by 62.
We've made it very clear we're not a math pod, and you are
If
doing
I
math right now.
did that math correctly, him hitting 22 home runs over a 62 game season would be equivalent,
57.
whatever word you want to use, to hitting 57 home runs in a
And a half.
162 game seasons. Yeah.
Don't miss the half. Yeah.
So that's
So if you're a
that's
betting
Aaron Judge
person,
type
bet the
stuff.
over on 50 homers, yeah, in his first year.
So yeah, he'll be excited to follow along with. That's the top prospect.
The number 2 projected prospect is Chase Doolander. What a name. Tennessee right-handed pitcher, 21, said to be the best college pitching prospect since Garrett Cole and Steven Strasburg. So those two turned out to be okay if you go back and look at the record books. His 2022 stats: 16 games, 79 innings, a 2.3 ERA, only 13 walks to 108 Ks, and he went 10-0. Seventh best K to walk ratio in NCAA Division I
Wow.
last year's season. His fastball peaks at 99, but he sits around 95 to 97, which feels normal now, by the way. His elite swing and miss rate, which is what everybody looks for, managers including. Secondary pitch is a mid-80s slider, but just tops out at 91 miles an hour. Guys, this is making me throw up. My fastball was at an average of 90 if you look at my Twitter bio, and these guys are throwing sliders and changeups at 90
It
right
worked.
now. So
It worked though, Pete. 310.
it did work. It did work. You're right. And he does have a upper 70s curveball and a upper 80s changeup. So he's got everything from 78 to 99. So tough guy to swing at, and that's why you get the big swing and misses. But holy cow, Chase Doolander. Good name too.
Yeah. Staying in the SEC, Wyatt Langford out of Florida, an outfielder. He's 21 years old. In 2022, he played in, wow. Okay. So 66 games for Wyatt, 356 average, which was better than our friend Dylan Cruz. 9 doubles, 3 triples, 26 home runs, which is better than our friend Dylan Cruz, 63 RBI, 7 stolen bases, 36 walks to 44 strikeouts, not as good as Dylan Cruz, an 1166 OPS. He tied the Gator record and led the SEC with 26 home runs last year. This guy has 5-tool potential. His strength is going to make him a power hitter, but he has well above average speed as well. He played third base and catcher in high school, but left field for every game in Florida in 2022. And this is a guy who we could see move up to getting drafted number 1 or number 2 overall. SEC, man.
It's nuts
Wild.
to look at these numbers, by the way.
Yeah.
We're going to move down to number 6 on the projected list. Max
Yes,
Clark. I think
I skipped Kelsey's second LSU guy.
And I
I
just
think
want to note that the 2 guys that you skipped were also SEC guys.
Mhm.
So the top 5 draft prospects are all coming out of the SEC.
And then we have, after that, it's 2 high school guys and then Vanderbilt, Grand Canyon, Florida.
Man, I feel like we usually see a high school kid up at least 1 in the top 5, no?
usually a high school shortstop. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And they're not even high school shortstops that are. Okay, sorry, go on.
Max Clark. Franklin Community High School. Speaking of high school kids, center fielder and a left-handed pitcher, so a two-way guy. This is what's going to be interesting to see, as what I'm going to really be paying attention to, is because I think that in America, if you're a two-way guy, you sort of have to choose when you get to this level. You have to decide
Yeah.
which way you want to go when you go to college or when you get to the pro ball. So I'm interested to see whether some teams will allow guys to do both if they think the potential is there. Anyway, highest ranked high schooler in draft rankings, verbal commit to Vanderbilt, pretty decent school. His 2021-2022 junior year stats: 25 games played with a .577 average. That's right. 8 doubles, 2 triples, 9 home runs, 32 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, 31 walks, and only 3 strikeouts. That's a 1.84.
Why are you laughing?
That's insane.
Those numbers are ridiculous.
3 Ks, you kidding me?
Yeah.
The 1.84 OPS, he had a .966 fielding percentage in the outfield. He also threw 16 innings to a .44 ERA, gave up 2 hits, 5 runs, 1 earned run, 2-0 record, 8 walks, and 39 punch-outs. Strong athletic build, 6'1", 190. Just to give some reference, I was 6 foot 175 when I was that age. Plus runner, top-ranked lefty bat with gap power. Projected strength was going to get 20 homers easy, and he throws 97. So he's basically
Wow.
Shohei Ohtani.
97 as a high schooler.
Mhm.
I always take high school numbers with a grain of salt because like the guys like this who are really good are just going to tear up on every single person that they play. But the fact that he's throwing, I pay more attention to, especially when it comes to pitching, to velo for high schoolers, probably because I'm married to a high school pitching coach. But yeah,
If you're pumping 97, and you're like short of the, I guess the representative tournaments and
Yeah.
travel ball stuff, you're not going to see that every day.
Yeah, and he hasn't even gotten his man strength yet. This dude's 18 years old.
I'm so glad I played when I did.
Okay. Moving down to number 8, we're skipping over another high school outfielder. We move to Enrique Bradfield. He is a outfielder at Vanderbilt. He's 21 years old. He was the fastest player in the 2020 draft, but decided to go to Vanderbilt. So in 2022, in 62 games, he hit .317 with 10 doubles, 5 triples, 8 home runs, 36 RBI, 46 stolen bases. He was never caught stealing. 46 stolen bases and was not caught stealing one time. You're going to really like this. 41 walks to 40 strikeouts. How often do we see a guy who has more walks than strikeouts? A .913 OPS. He had an 86 walks to 82 strikeouts in his first 2 seasons as well. That is insane. And you pair that with his speed, saying that he was the fastest guy in the 2020 draft. In 2021, he led the NCAA in stolen bases with 47, and he won SEC Freshman of the Year. So obviously, this is a guy who has elite speed. His defense is giving him Kenny Lofton comps. A little sneaky pop. We say that 8 home runs, but focuses more on contact and speed. A .433 OBP in 2 Vandy seasons. So those are some guys. You're going to be hearing them you're going to be hearing about them a lot in this college baseball season. We're going to hear about them a lot and talk about them a lot leading up to the draft. But those are some guys to keep your eyeballs on. Yeah.
Does the college baseball season finish? So there's kind of carryover, right, into the playoffs, and some guys. When does it finish? Can we look that up?
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
So in 2022, the College World Series began on June 16th and ran through June 17th. But remember, they pushed the draft back.
Right.
The draft used to be
Right around the same time.
usually during super regionals, which, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I remember when I was in college and LSU was playing OU in super regionals, and there were some guys, there was a rain delay, and the draft had ended that day, and there were some guys who didn't get drafted, who were expecting to get drafted, and rain delay, they have to go into the locker room, and like reality sets in that they didn't get drafted, and then they have to go back out there and finish the game, and one of the teams obviously lost. So it's like all of your dreams and like that span so anyway, they pushed the draft back to July, and now there is no overlap with the College World Series and the draft.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
specifically this year, College World Series is June 25th and 26th. MLB Draft starts July 9th.
Okay. So now that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to clear that up, because and plus the last 2 years have been so strange with everything being shifted around all over the place. So okay, good.
Yeah. But there are some guys that we want to throw out there that are kind of like our top pick dark horses for the season. So there was Joe Doyle. He works for Prospects Lives. He made a list of some of those guys who can shoot up in the draft rankings over the next 6 months. So if you look at the last 3 seasons, a top 2 pick has shot up. So there was Heston Kjerstad, which I always have trouble saying.
Well
his
done.
name. Did I do that
I would
right?
have definitely, I would have definitely pronounced the J.
Was
but
he
I think it's
Arkansas?
silent.
I think so.
Kansas.
Anyway, in January, so the month that we are in, he was projected to go around 30th overall. That year, he ended up being drafted 2nd overall. Henry Davis, who we've talked about a bunch, in January around this time of year, he was projected to go around 20th overall. He was drafted 1st overall in 2021. And then, of course, this year's top draftee, Jackson Holiday, was
Just got engaged, right?
Yes.
he has a good-looking girlfriend. I know that. They were like awkwardly sitting directly behind the camera while we were playing the Marlins. He was projected to go 45th overall, and just freaking 7 months later, he was drafted 1st overall.
What do you think? Do you think that's on the people that do the lists in January, or do you think that's on he's just, because I can't imagine that he showed that much improvement in 6 months that he went from 45th to number 1.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that there's always, I think they're underestimated. They perform really well. And then I think that there's sometimes that guys are more okay getting drafted by organizations than other guys are. Like, I think teams know that they can get this. I don't know how to explain what I'm saying.
Does a lot of that go on? Does a lot of that? So I would assume that if you're going to be in the top 10 pick, and the Pirates have the 1st pick and the Dodgers have the 7th pick, you'd be like, look, I'll be honest with you. If you let me go to 7, there's more of a chance that I'll sign with you than there is that I'm not going to go to college.
Guys care about organizations. Like, that was something when Matt Holliday, I mean, I told this story a while ago. We had him on our broadcast, the game that his family was sitting directly behind the camera well in Miami. And Matt was saying that in these team meetings with organizations who are not winning and don't necessarily have a clear path, he was asking them, like, what is your plan? What if my son's going to be in this organization? I want to know that he's going to be in an organization that's eventually going to be trying to win. So, like, what is your game plan with where you're taking this organization? And he was really, really blunt and direct with these teams, that he wants his son to be an organization who wants to win. And I think that there are some conversations. Obviously, I've never sat in on a draft conversation, but I mean, especially hearing him talk about that, those kinds of conversations do happen. And
Well, it makes sense. If you're going to be in the big leagues for 10 years, you want to be somewhere where it's going to be competitive. You don't want to just drag your feet and just
Yeah.
show up and get a number. You want to get some rings.
Yeah. So here are two guys that we could see shoot up from that article that Joe Doyle wrote. Do you want to lead it off? I want to hear you say this.
Jack Hurley.
Yeah, just thought you'd say that last name real nice.
Jack Hurley, Virginia Tech outfielder, 20 years old, ranked 37 on the draft board right now. 2022 stats in 58 games, hit 375, 23 doubles, 1 triple, 14 home runs and 55 stakes, 10 stolen bases, and 32 walks to only 51 Ks with a 1.1 OPS. He's got really, really good bat-to-ball skills and raw power, which makes him 5-tool capable, and he can play all 3 outfield positions. So look for him, Jack Hurley.
Okay, Kyle Teal. He's a Virginia catcher. He's 20 years old. He's ranked 28th on the draft board currently. He withdrew from the 2020 draft to honor his Virginia Tech commitment. In 2022, remember, he's a catcher. 58 games, which is a full season. Hit 276 with 12 doubles, 3 triples as a catcher. 6 home runs, 45 RBI, 3 stolen bases. What's up, Wheels? 41 walks to 36 strikeouts and an 841 OPS. Good average and power. He's gotten stuck in between being a good hitter with some pop or a pure power guy. He has obviously extreme athleticism, especially for a catcher. His plus arm allows him to play the outfield as well, but he also could be a good second baseman or third baseman. Holy smokes, just put this guy anywhere on the diamond. And he has a really high baseball IQ, really good leadership skills. We know that organizations really, really value that, especially in a position like that. Yeah.
Versatility is going to be the key. Versatility,
Yeah,
I honestly think that's going to be massive moving forward in this game.
Yeah, like, yeah, I can catch. I can play corner. I can play middle infield. I can play the outfield. Okay.
Yeah.
There's one more thing that I wanted to randomly talk about, and it's the WBC, because that's coming up. Are you freaking fired up, Pete?
I am fired up.
Yeah.
I am fired up. It's honestly, it's one of the most fun tournaments to watch. And for a country like Australia, just to give you the perspective, it's really important that we win a game. Obviously, our goal is to get through to the next round, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to do it yet. But as long as we win one of the games in our pool, that means that we are guaranteed not having to qualify, and we get to come back to the next WBC. So for right now, we have the Czech Republic, we have China, we have Korea, and we have Japan, as well as obviously Australia in our pool. So the goal needs to be to beat the Czech Republic, to beat China, and to try and beat one of either Korea or Japan, which is going to be a tough ask. But it's just, in tournament play, anybody can beat anybody. You look at Team Israel, you look at Colombia. Colombia had a good running against the eventual champions last WBC. So it's you have a starter that's on that day. We faced Jason Grilli in the first ever game that Australia played in the WBC back in 2006, and he threw a 9-inning complete game against us. So we just had no chance, and he was pitching for Italy. We went into that tournament thinking, okay, we match up pretty well with Italy. Well, when Italy brings in Mike Piazza and Jason Grilli, we don't match up very well anymore. Mm-hmm. So it can really be fascinating, and it's a true test to see. Japan have got guys coming out of everywhere that throw a billion, and every one of their top guys that are playing in the States have signed up to play for their team. So it's going to be really, really fun, man.
Well, you talk about Australia having to beat Korea or Japan. I'm looking at there are some power rankings that came out on the 1st. Japan's ranked number 3, Korea's ranked number 7. First in the rankings, who do you think it is?
It's got to be either Puerto Rico or US.
It's the Dominican Republic.
Oh, dang.
Let me read some of these names on this roster. And this article is dated December 14th. So I'm sure there have been some guys added to this roster since then. But just looking at position players for the Dominican Republic, Vladdy, Jeremy Pena, Jose Ramirez, Manny Machado, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, Rafael Devers, Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano, Teoscar Hernandez, Wander Franco. Those are just some of the position players. Okay, now going to starting pitchers. Sandy Alcantara, Framber Valdez,
Quite okay.
Christian Javier, Luis Castillo. Relief pitchers, Camilo Doval, Diego Castillo, Emmanuel Clase, Gregory Soto, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Wandy Peralta, like stacked. Number 2.
And here's the crazy part too, is that a lot of those guys play winter ball together still at this, so they're already played as a team before. Whereas the US team, I'm sure Team USA, a lot of representatives have played together as well.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
yeah.
Keep going. Sorry, that's insane.
And then USA is ranked second, and it's insane, the roster that Team USA has put together. Number 3 is Japan. Number 4 is Venezuela, which I kind of want to look up that roster because I bet that one's star-studded too. 5 is Mexico, which kind of surprised me a little bit. 6 is Puerto Rico, 7's Korea, 8 is Cuba, 9's Colombia, 10 Netherlands. Our friends in Australia coming in 18th out of 20 that are on
Shock
this
the world.
list.
All I hear is shock the world. That's all I hear.
But yeah, that's going to be really fun to follow along with. And I believe we'll be potentially
together
taping around that time.
Yeah, we're going to be together.
So, and Peter's going to have opinions on that. So that will be fun to follow along with. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to talk about before we go into Aussie Lingo?
I think we have covered beautifully.
Yep. Okay, Peter.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. Ankle biter.
We have.
Dang it. Okay.
But I don't remember what it is.
Okay.
I'm going to say mosquitoes. And if that's correct, then just go on to the next one.
Not correct.
Those bracelets that you wear on your anklets.
An ankle biter is a small or young child when we use it in the sentence.
Yeah.
Go and grab those bloody ankle biters, will you? We're going to the shops.
Do kids bite ankles? I don't know if I want kids. Does that
If
happen?
they're tiny.
They bite your ankles?
They don't bite your ankles. They bite everything else.
All righty, guys. We love y'all.
We
Thank
do.
you for all of the support. We're still here. We love you guys. Farm on.
This isn't Sprite, by the way. Just in case, this is water that I've filled up in a Sprite bottle. So I'm not just pounding Sprite during the whole episode. At 9 o'clock in the morning in Australia, by the way.
It is 5:15 here. All righty, guys. Farm on. Farm often. We love you guys. See you later.